today for my blog is never forcing skinny, and this kind of made me kind of sleep on it a bit, and then also made me think back on like certain things that happened to make me want to record this and kind of talk about it. So here's the backstory. When I was 15 going on 16, this was also a time period when I never heard from my dad until about 4 or 5 years later, because 4 or 5 years ago, this was the time period when before I was turning 16. My parents divorced when I was 10, and my sister and I had visitations with them for about 6 months to about a year until not even kind of 6 months. So we kind of stopped seeing him when I was 11, and it kind of progressed from there that we pretty much separated ourselves from him because of how he was treating us and everything. So back to when I was 15, 16. So my sister was already in college, so she was already out of the whole situation of still having visitation rights with him. Or technically she's already aged out of it. So he goes to the judge saying that, he wants to continue visitations with me, even though I was pretty much okay by myself not having to deal with him, because when you're young, you really don't see what's really going on until you start getting either you're separated from different parents, and you see how one parent acts, and then you see how the other parent acts, and it kind of makes you realize, I guess, where things should really be. And so, he got what he wanted, and I pretty much was visiting him for at least a few months, every Sunday, because I really didn't want to have to see him every single day, not every single day, but over the weekend, but Sunday was the only convenient day that he was able to see me and all that stuff. So, we talked, and then his biggest concern wasn't about, getting to know me or just being happy to see me, but it was more like him having me lose this weight. And I was overweight for a long, long time, and it's kind of interesting how he was overweight, and I don't know how much he weighed. I don't really want to know if he's lost any of his weight yet, but he pretty much spent a lot of his time when we were living with him and when my parents were still married, fixating on having us eat so much, and he was a really good cook, don't get me wrong. He was a really good cook, but he was always saying oh, I'm so fat, I'm gonna have a nice big pot belly and all that stuff. And this was when he was really selfish about his own eating habits, and now he was concerned about my well-being because I was getting the way he was. But little did he know that he kind of forced it upon me to gain this weight anyways. So I kind of want to say it's kind of your parents' fault for not being more optimistic about a child's well-being for their health, but most parents don't really know any better. But when your child gets older, it's when they start realizing that that's when they start to change. But anyways, so he made me decide whether or not I really wanted to lose weight. At the same time, I really couldn't think about this. I really thought that if I said yes, that he would went on ahead and did what he wanted, because I felt like, in a way, he really didn't want to get to know me that well as a person. He's been without his daughters for quite some time, and instead of getting to know them, how they are, what they do, and stuff like that, it's more like fixating on me losing this weight and being healthy and eating right, and this is probably where the stress came from, is that fixation. When people fixate on certain things for a long period of time, it's so frustrating and it's stressful because most times they're successful at it, at getting their goals, but sometimes they're not, because it becomes overwhelming and they feel like, they'll go backwards. And that's the big issue with certain people, is that when they do certain things for a long period of time and fixate it for so long, they go backwards as to how they got there. Same thing for meat eaters who transition from vegetarian or vegan, even raw. They think they're going 2 steps forward, but they're actually going 2 steps back without even knowing it. So I said yes because I figured he would be more happy if I just went on ahead and joined the gym and ate right and made him happy. But was it really what I really wanted? Which is why, this weight loss for me was a slow process, and I started at the very, very beginning of this year. So the origin of not being too concerned about weight loss, but I guess it's not too concerned about weight loss so much in this fast, is because of the attitude coming towards him, of his fixation of his youngest child losing this weight, and the trials and errors that led me to want to eat more because of his fixation, and his wasting his time not knowing me not knowing about what I like to do, and if he did, he would always criticize it, and that's not fair. If you really know so much about the subject, I would understand, but if you know nothing, you have no experience, then you shouldn't be saying shit about that. And that's my 2 cents about it. And, he didn't even know that I was bisexual, even though he kind of, forced his way by finding it on Facebook and then plastering it by saying that I was a lesbian when I'm not 100% a lesbian. I'm just right now in a stage where I'm just really not sure where my feelings are, and they're still there, regardless of the situation, of just focusing on myself and my well-being. And I think in a much deeper note, his fixation went so far because my life kind of revolved around being with friends, enjoying my teenage years, trying to get through high school, and being around people I can socialize with and having fun. And my depression towards him wanting me to lose weight just sunk in, and it kind of left me in a situation where if he wants me to lose weight so much, then I have to do it on my own. But it went down south when he kind of made it so clear and made me feel so guilty so many times that I literally thought my life was really not that worth it. And it's not a sad topic to talk about, because being overweight and suicide go hand in hand, because your weight can be the biggest part of your life, and if you don't take control of it, then it's going to control you, and that's what I've let it done to me for all these years, because I felt like there was no other situation to do it. There's no other way of fixing it. That, my parents were fighting so much about me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and my dad's pissed off at my mom not taking initiative effort into me losing weight. But she said, she's tried, but she knows that she can't do anything about it because it has to be my choice, and she's let it been my choice for a long period of time. And now that I've made the decision I'm glad that she's letting me do it. So the parent that was right all along with everything was my mother. By leaving me alone about my weight and letting me do it when I'm ready, when it's my time. I mean, look where I'm at now. This is only day 29. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, my last picture, this was a lot fuller, but this is not as full now. I mean, you can kind of see the belly as it is, and I'm not sucking it in either. So I'm gonna end this video here so that I can try and see if I can upload it. Do a blog without YouTube and all that stuff. But bye guys.